Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 730, and I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and Laura and I both use the she, her pronouns. Um, we are moving, hopefully, out of the desolation of never-ending winter.
I heard it was fake spring up there.
Yeah, it's been, well, it got as high as 60
Nice.
yesterday, I think, but it's been in the 50s mostly. The chickens are loving life. They're back out roaming and eating all the bugs and hanging out on the porch. So it's I didn't quite realize how much I missed the chicken TV until they came back.
That's funny.
Because they're entertaining little suckers, I will tell you that.
So no snow on the ground for you anymore?
No, at least not in our like particular area. No, there's no snow left. But I'm not confident that the snow is over because this is Wisconsin, so you
Yeah.
never know. Um, but yeah, it's been nice to actually get out a little bit, and enjoy the nice weather. So
Good.
I asked Laura before we started recording what the weather was like there, and she said cold in the 60s.
Did. I'm like, I have my hoodie in the dryer to make it nice and warm for me.
Wow.
It's but the feels like is like colder than that. It is cold. I'm cold.
I mean, it's
Anyway,
all relative.
it is. Definitely is. What are you working on,
So,
friend?
I am working on the same thing that I've been working on. For a couple of weeks, but hopefully soon I will be casting on. Laura has been, I say Laura, it's not really her fault, but what is the name of that sweater that I said I wanted to cast on, the brioche one?
It's
That
the
there was a
new. Hold on, I gotcha.
there was a
I
cardigan version, and now there's a pullover
gotcha. It's the
version.
hearth side pullover,
Yeah, and
and
it's
that's
brioche, and it
one kind.
uses
Yeah,
two colors, and each, so it's reversible, and each like color is actually two strands of fingering weight, so it's like sort of four sweater lots worth of yarn. Kind of, not quite sweater lots, but like mini sweater lots, like multiple skeins of different colors of fingering
it
weight.
can use up to 4,000 yards
Right.
in the largest size, which is 70-inch bust.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the gauge or anything for it yet, but brioche is very stretchy. So, for myself, I would probably make one that's intended to have no ease and just have it be a little bit stretchy on
It
me.
is the two-strand brioche is 12 stitches times 18 rows is 4 by 4.
Hmm. So that's what I'm going to knit, although I haven't even picked out yarn yet. But what I'm currently knitting on is a pair of socks in the Vanilla is the New Black pattern, which is basically this heel that you can put on um, your sock instead of a flap or other heel. And I just got to the point where I finished the increases. This is sock number 2. This is sock number 1. Um, and I think I've got one more plain row, well, where I just maintain pattern and then I start doing short rows. So, um, I think last week I was still way up here at the cuff. So I've gotten a fair amount done on this in a week. It's not nearly as
Nice.
much as I used to knit in a week, but I've got other stuff I've been working on. So the other thing that I've been working on is the Membrial sweater by Margany. And all the stuff that we talk about is in our show notes. And our show notes are on our website, which is TheKnitGirls with 3Ls.com. So this one, I got the body of it finished. So put on have here. So this is unblocked, um, everything, but I got the body finished and I've got the ribbing done here on the hem. And then the only thing that I've got left to do on this is to pick up the button band and neckline.
Yeah.
Um, and it's written to only have 4 rows for the button band and neckline, but I think I want it a little bit deeper, so I might do 6 or 8 rows. We'll see. And then it's sleeves, and the sleeves are knit in the round and they're stockinette. So, um, even if they don't go fast, they'll be pretty brainless. I won't have to pay a ton of attention aside from counting my decreases.
Nice.
But yeah,
I do
I'm
love
pretty
that
happy.
trick of putting like a stitch marker every
Hmm.
decrease so that's super easy to count.
Yeah, and I have several thousand stitch markers, so I'm definitely not short on that. Um, yeah, I have not loved the process of making it, but I do love how it looks.
It's
So
very pretty.
I'm excited for it to be done. So I'll work on picking up the stitches for the neckband later. That'll probably take a while because it's a lot of stitches, but um, yeah, I'm hoping by next week I will have most of at least one sleeve done. Maybe more, but that's what I'm gonna work towards.
It's a great goal.
Um, and that's it. That's been my crafting for the week. So, what about you?
I finished a sleeve while we were sitting here. Pretty sure I'm done. So, this is my second Carbeth sleeve. I did not bring the whole sweater in here because when I left it in here, it fell and all the stitches came off the needles last week.
Oh,
So it is in its little because I don't have a bag big enough for it. I mean, I'm sure I do, but
just not handy at that particular place.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about with the stitch markers. I marked my increases with those removable stitch markers so that it is very easy to count. And then I have this stitch marker to like it was 2 inches from there,
Hmm.
so I could not just keep going round and round and round forever. I'm using Germantown Bulky, which is a US manufactured yarn by Kelborn Woolens. It is a nice basic yarn. They got rid of the bulky, but they still have a DK and a worsted. Um, it is like my default non-superwash just wool yarn. Like it's just a good kind of like a fisherman's what was the Lion Brand one? Fisherman's whatever.
Uh, Fisherman's wool, I think, is what it was
Yeah.
called.
So just like a nice basic wool and I'm excited about that. So those are in the needles. I am using Fortes on size 7 and 8. I'm super excited because Fortes are coming out with a 4-inch size, not just the 5-inch. So that's awesome because I could definitely use those for hats. And then the other thing that I have been working on is I've been doing a lot of swatching. So
Hmm.
I have 2 vests coming up. My next 2 garments I want to do are both vests. The first, and I spun for both of these. The first is the Biblio and this uses the Naked Cake colorway of Kim
Hmm.
Dye's yarn on a Rambo silk. This actually I started spinning when I got my Martin. I have 1,200 yards. Should be perfect for it's just like a plain, simple vest. I might make it cropped. I might not. Haven't decided yet. But yep, basic vest that I'm going to wear probably a tunic underneath. So got gauge on that, and I put the needles in the bag with the yarn so that because I cannot remember what size they are. I think it was 4s, but everything is together.
Hmm.
And then this is one that was done on size 5. So this is also Kim Dye's yarn. This is going to be for the Anjou slip over that I'm doing without the buttons. I'm doing like the non-button version. It is also Kim Dyes yarn. I spun this at Christmas time. That's the contrast. And then the commercial yarn that I'm using with it is
Gilead.
Gilead, which is French and super squishy. So this is out of worsted weights. And I actually, if you looked closely at this swatch, the first repeat is much larger than the second two because I started with, I think it calls for, let me go back. I just had that pulled up. I think it calls for 7s. I went down to 6s. Let me see. Maybe it calls for 8s and I went down to 6s. Or I went down to 7s. Yeah, it calls for 8s. I went down to 7s and I ended up on 5s for the second two repeats. And that is what I'm still like maybe half a stitch over per, let's see.
4
I think I'm
inches.
supposed to be getting on this should be like 5.25 because when you work with the numbers that for the repeat, and I'm like 5.5, so I'm a quarter of an inch over her 4
Quarter
inch.
of a stitch over, right?
No, it's 5. It should be measuring 5.25, and it's measuring 5.5
Okay.
over. I think it was 24 stitches. So for every 4 inches, essential or 5 inches, I'm half an inch over. So I'm just gonna go down a size. Anyway, what is math? I don't know. But
You're asking the wrong person.
I do not want to go down. I like the fabric, and I do not want to go down to 4s. I feel like it would be way too dense. I want a little bit of drape to it. So yeah, those two are my next two projects, and that is basically what I've been working on. I do have a finished object, and that is the socks for my grandmother I finished. So they're hanging out in a fat squirrel bag. These are opal yarn. They are the Wendy Johnson toe up gusset pattern, and from her first book, and I knit them over 60 stitches. So they are completely done. They were knit on size 00s, and I will mail them out to my grandmother tomorrow. And she might get them before she leaves for Michigan on Saturday or Sunday. So, yeah. That is what I have finished. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I don't really have any other crafting for this week.
Okay. I do have some spinning. I finished the Shetland silk. This is a 3-ply. It is 120 yards, so it is a bulky.
It's pretty.
That is not what I was aiming for. So I started because I wanted to combine it with this for Dickie. This is a Miss Babs yarn. I think it's like a Targhee worsted or DK. I cannot remember now. I think DK. And that's not working. So I started spinning some Hello Yarn Club that came. So I am being like very specific with my, like I'm definitely doing some measuring all the time. So I'm going to chain ply this. Because it's a 3-ply, you take your reps. So this is a reps per inch gauge. And I did a reps per inch on that commercial yarn, and it was 11. So to get that on a 3-ply, my single should be at 22. So I am doing that. I'm trying to keep it pretty consistent at the 22 because I really want this to work for the Dickie. that I have
How
in
often
mind.
do you find that you need to check against your
I
gauge?
check around every 10 minutes.
And
I could pull a pieback sample too if I wanted, but I was kind of in the zone the other day, so I was just trying to be consistent.
and when you check, you're saying you check every 10 minutes or so. When you check, how frequently are you finding that you've varied from that mark?
I can tell when I'm varying because when you pull out your single, let me just do apply back. So when I look at my single, like it's pretty easy to tell just looking at it where the thicker spots would be because twist behaves differently, and twist always goes to the smallest diameter and it jumps over larger diameters. So it's pretty easy to tell if I'm getting off. But I have been checking when I have been switching my hook. So when I
Hmm,
move my hook, that's when I check because I'm
that's a
already
good to know.
stopping.
Yeah.
So it's just a good time to just double check what's going on. This is a Hello Yarn Cordale, and it is this month's club. So also moving out this month's club.
Hmm.
Um, and I really, really like it. I might get, she's got some solids in the shop. Um, there's the bright pink as like a solid. So I might have to splurge and get that for a different project, maybe. I think a bright pink sweater would be very fun and also very Emily.
It
My friend
does make me
Emily
think of
does love
Emily.
some bright pink. So but I'm loving the bright colors. It's this Cordale. I love Cordale. It's like my favorite fiber to work with. So I'm enjoying the spin, even though I'm kind of keeping a closer eye on it than I normally do. Just because I want it to act right. I want to
Yeah,
spin
well,
for this specific project in a I rarely spin for, I shouldn't say that. I don't get as bogged down by the minutia as I am with this project, but also I've never there's like I took a class called Spin a Sweater. It was on the Maryland Winterfest, and I never thought about like the math behind it, like you need half or double um the singles. So I'm kind of also wanting to experiment with that a little bit. Like I want to see if I do spin it to that 22 and do the chain ply, will it actually be 11?
hmm,
And Cordale shouldn't poof that much. It's a pretty stable fiber. It doesn't have um the crimp and elasticity as like a Targi or a Merino or a Cormo. So it shouldn't have as much poof factor because that's also something to think about. So again, I'm very in my head about this project and I don't know why, but I'm going to just roll with it. And it's just, I only need like 70 yards.
oh,
So, I mean, I'm chain plying it, so really I need,
210.
yeah, but it's very doable.
Yeah, I think so. It's always nice when you try to prove something mathematical and it actually works. So,
I'm hoping that's the case. So also one of the bingo squares for Jillian is like doing experiments. This is kind of my experiment. I want to see if this works. So
fair enough.
there we go. You're listening to some new stuff, right?
Ish. So I'm re-listening to a book that I listened to a long time ago. It was one of the um, first dozen or so that I bought on Audible. So it's been a lot of years. But it's called Hyperion and it's by Dan Simmons. It's one of those sort of canon sci-fi, epic sci-fi books, and I was talking to Kobe yesterday or this morning. I think it was this morning, and he was asking what I was listening to, and I mentioned that book, and he's like, "Isn't that the one where everybody goes pretty crazy looking for the tall metal guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's that one." So, spoiler. It's the book's like 30 something years old, so um I'm re-listening to that just because I wanted um something somewhat involved, and I had good memories of listening to that book. And I think there's another one after that as well. And then I started reading a book called These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs. It's queer science fiction, and appears that there's going to be some big major twist, at least according to the reviews.
Ooh.
Um, so, of course, I'm spending most of my time trying to figure out what the twist is going to be. But it's really, the characters are well written and fleshed out, and um, it's, sort of future planetary families, and um, I'm finding it interesting. I'm enjoying it. So, that's what I'm reading right now. As far as like watching TV, we're all just watching junk TV because we all need to escape after, um, you know, the society and the times that we're living in. So it's all kind of just junk reality TV. Nothing that I would recommend specifically. So, but I know you said you've been watching a lot of Olympics, right?
I have been watching a lot of Olympics. I've been watching Olympic ice skating and a lot of women's hockey, which is awesome.
Hmm.
Some men's hockey as well. But Team USA women's hockey is amazing. And a lot of the players are actually from University of Wisconsin.
Oh,
So
cool.
very cool. Or at least three attended there. I think two currently attend there. Um, but Layla Edwards is she's playing defense and she's awesome. I think she scored 3 goals maybe. Um, so yeah, really enjoying that. Been doing a lot of reading at work of like picture books as they come
Hmm.
in, which has been very fun. I read a biography on Andre the Giant today.
Oh, yeah.
Because my kids asked for more wrestling books, and I had them like look through and decide who they wanted, and those came in today with a bunch of other nonfiction like sports biographies.
Hmm.
And Andre the Giant was one that they picked, which kind of surprised me. But one of my favorite movies of all time is The Princess Bride. So I was like, let me get down on some, maybe there's some new Andre the Giant knowledge that I did not know. And I did not know that he and Hulk Hogan hated each other. So
Mm.
that's your tea for the day.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan is the only person who ever defeated him in a match.
Hmm.
Um,
I remember watching a documentary about Hulk Hogan a while, or not Hulk Hogan, about Andre the Giant,
yeah.
a while back, and being kind of surprised to learn that he drank a lot,
Oh, yeah.
but primarily because he was in so much pain all the
Yeah.
time because of all the weight and pressure on his joints because he was just such a big dude.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Um, yeah. So that's basically what I've been doing. I've been watching a lot of Winterfest classes before they disappear. I have a class that I'm taking next Saturday, which I'm super excited about. So I will talk about that afterwards. And then I have a trip to Wisconsin coming up in two
mhm.
weeks. Also exciting. So, and I'm going to try to drive to St. Louis Friday night, I think, and have dinner with Sarah and her boyfriend.
Yeah,
So that'll be
nice.
super fun. And then finish the drive up on Saturday because it's like 9.5 hours to
Yeah.
Madison. So finish the drive on Saturday and maybe stop by Becca's on the way back. But I have all the grand plans. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, but it's gonna be a super fun trip, and I hope that some of you all are in my class, or I'll see y'all. I'm also doing a lecture for the Medicine Knitters Guild, so it's all through the Medicine Knitters Guild. They are pretty awesome.
They are.
I'm gonna join next year because they have a long, like, they record all the stuff too. So if you join, you can join and watch it on like Zoom. So that's kind of cool. So yeah. And they just had Laura Nelkin, who's the sweetest.
Yeah, she is. Her brain works in some weird, fascinating ways. Um, I'm always intrigued when she like comes out with or popularizes some technique I've never heard of before.
She has a new hood that came out with a scarf attached that came out today.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I've been making good progress on turning my little heel.
Aww.
So, um, yeah, I don't think I have anything else for this week. We've got a Patreon fail along and VKN coming up at the end of the month. So for all of you who support us on Patreon or support any creators on
Which is
Patreon,
Sunday. That's the end of the last day of the month is Sunday. Like
not this,
for like the last Sunday of the month is this Sunday, I think. Is it not?
no, I don't think so. I think that we've got one more after this one because today's only the
Nope.
17th. Let me look.
Nope. It's the 22nd. This is the
Awesome.
Sunday. It comes up
Okay.
fast. These short months, these 28 or dayers, they're fast.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll be seeing them sooner than I anticipated, but that's not a bad thing. They're lovely, so we appreciate everyone who
Yeah, we've
supports
got the
us.
best Patreons.
But yeah, we hope that you have a lovely week and weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye,
Bye
y'all.
now.